Yeah.
Filming from a secret location. I wonder if you can tell where we are. So probably good for them to know who you are.
My name's Ehireme and I'm a father.
How long you been a father for?
Been a father for 2 years.
2 whole years, guys.
And 1 month.
But yeah, it'll be good to also know about like what you do.
Yeah, I'm an actor. So at the moment, I'm in a play right now called So You Think I'm Crazy, a play about mental health, specifically looking at the pressures and what a lot of young black people tend to fall into in terms of mental health. I don't really speak about it.
And you're co-parenting, right?
Yeah, co-parenting.
You know, I'm all about co-parenting. I'm going to talk about my first midwife appointment. Got to UCL hospital. I brought my mum along for the support. The wait was long. I think I waited like 3 hours for my first midwifery appointment, for heaven's sake. But when I finally got called in, the lady called me and my mum in. She seemed to be asking like all the normal questions like, what's your name, date of birth, GP, standard. And it seemed to be going okay. And then she asked my mum, are you happy to be a grandma? And my mum was like, yes, my first grandchild, really happy, etc, etc. And this woman happens to be of African descent. My background is Nigerian, so she happened to be like Nigerian to Nigerian, you just know, yeah. So we all know each other. We don't need to start saying, what's your surname? Like, we all know. So everyone sort of knew the culture. So, you know, everyone was quite happy. I was my first grandchild, whatever. And then, yeah, conversation went like that. And then my mum happened to get a phone call and had to leave the room. So when she left the room now, it was just me and the woman. And then the woman was like to me, are you happy? I was like, what? She's like, are you happy with the pregnancy? And I was like, yeah. Then she was like, because you look sad. I was like, okay. And then she was just like, are your parents happy with you having this baby? And I was like, and like I said, it's quite an interesting thing because when tradition and culture comes into it, if it was maybe any other midwife from any other background, I might have been like, hold on, who are you asking these questions to? But it's sort of not done. So anyway, my mum comes in now and then she puts on a completely different hat and she's all being friendly again, like, auntie, your first grandchild, come on in, you know, we thank God or whatever. And I was like, what on earth is this? So I left the appointment and I was really upset. And then to my surprise, I get a phone call the next day. And it happens to be social services. And I'm like, okay. And they basically said that my midwife referred me to them. My midwife, the midwife I'd only seen once.
When my son's mum fell pregnant, I didn't know up until 8 months. For me, I was just thinking, do I want to get involved? There was a serious time limit on kind of deciding what I'm going to do. You know, my son was gonna be born regardless. But then I decided I want to play my part, really.
Do you feel like you need to be involved in midwife appointments? Like even if she was to have told you at like 2 months?
As men, I think we do. But for me, I don't think it's something that women see as like a big thing for men to be there.
You speak for all the women.
No.
Thinking, I guess, about ways forward. There's sort of 3 strands to this I had. The first strand is about there being like a compulsory kind of training for midwife. I feel like these women and men, there are actually midwives.
There are.
Respect, big up the men. Yeah. Because these people are more or less the first point of contact for every parent in the UK, I would say, having a child.
One factor, importantly, is that the midwives are the first people to have contact with the child in their life. That's crazy. It's not the woman that, you know, kept them in their womb for the 9 months.
But secondly, on top of that, I feel there's a kind of second strand where in the situation where I told you how social services just got involved like that, there should also be a kind of organisation, independent charity or something like that, social enterprise, whatever you want to call it, where young women and young men can actually have an advocate to advocate for those situations. So even if it is the case that social services need to be involved, or it is the case that the midwife and the young person aren't really getting on, there is someone independent that the young person wants in their life or in that room to be having those conversations for them, either if it is talking on their behalf or just explaining situations so it doesn't heighten tension. Because I'm not gonna lie, after that my tension was high with all my midwives. I hated every single one of them. So I think that shouldn't be the case. But I think on the kind of last strand, I also feel there should be or there could be a session throughout the 9 months for teen parents, a space within the hospitals, and it's not to like make them feel like they can't be the parent they want to be.
We should get to understand what the role of a midwife is and how they can support us. It would be helpful just to kind of understand what we kind of do, how we can kind of support, you know,
the men. Yeah. How does that affect a man and their mental health?
That childbirth is a big thing. That plays a big part. How kind of balanced your mental well-being is.
But it could be a nice thing where hospitals do put in some money, or local authority put in some money, so in the hospitals there's a space where they have workshops in regards to antenatal care, the purpose of having a midwife. Some men feel like there is no purpose, they have no business being there, but really getting the men involved, really getting the women involved in their care around having this new baby, and really also meeting with mothers and fathers that are like-minded, and really building on those networks, as opposed to like putting too much pressure on midwife, putting too much pressure on social services. In every job there is a culture, and obviously I feel there needs to be a good midwifery culture, and it's really difficult when on top of your kind of midwifery culture you also have culture. And like I said, in my situation where there was a midwife of African descent, and not only was she African, she was also Nigerian, these things played a more important role to her than being a midwife, in my opinion. It wasn't just her, and maybe in another video I can talk about like situations when I actually gave birth, where the kind of derogatory comments, the stigma, the stereotypes, the way of speaking to me just continued. And it was, to be honest, midwives, most of the midwives were those from my community.
But it kind of also raises another question. If the woman and the man are not together, like, how much support do you give? It's a hard question, because is it a thing where you're kind of throwing away your pride and thinking the child comes first, so I want the best environment, I want the mother to be in the best environment possible? Or is it a thing where you're like, well, I don't really care, like, yeah, like, you know, I'll see my child after they're born, but up to that point I'm not really in it.
I would say though, parents that are 25 and under, there's still, I feel there's genuinely a lot of growing up to do. Yeah, okay, you've done the deed, you're gonna have a baby, you lot all need to fix up, but it's really clearly obviously not as easy as that when the situation occurred. I feel like it is kind of fundamental when parents are so young. There needs to be, I feel like it goes on for so much longer, the kind of knock-on effects of not kind of supporting these parents. I also say that because the difference between maybe a parent that has children a bit younger, they're less likely to be involved in kind of other situations, whether it's crime, the likelihood of being maybe not in a job that they need to be, or financially in a place they need to be, unemployment. So these are big factors that also change the dynamic.
It'll be interesting to see what you guys have to kind of say about this subject, so I'm looking forward to the replies.
And that's basically London.
And we're out. See you later. That's not it at
That
all.
was even more stiff than the first one.